What's going on, guys? This is Chandler Smith, and today I'm going to be talking about the top 5 tips every new investor needs to know before they buy that first investment property. And the reason I'm talking about this is I spent over 2 years looking around, reading books, researching, doing everything I could to build up the confidence to pull the trigger on that first property. And I'm really hoping these tips will get you there a lot quicker. The first tip that I want to hit on is creating your team. And the first member of your team that you need to find is a good realtor and a good wholesaler. The reason that this is so important is if you find a good realtor and wholesaler, you're going to be able to get a free education. And what I mean by this is they're going to be able to bring a ton of different properties in front of you. You're going to be able to go into these properties, you're going to be able to ask questions, and you're going to be able to do all of this without paying them anything, because they don't get paid until you buy something. And make sure that the realtor and the wholesaler that you choose both have investment properties of their own. Because if they have investment properties of their own, they're also going to be able to teach you how the numbers work and how your market works a lot faster than someone that doesn't. The next member of your team needs to be a good loan officer. What that means is that they have invested in real estate themselves. So they know how the numbers work and they know how to help you spend your money properly. They also need to be able to give you good advice on how to qualify for a loan, on the steps that you need to take, and they need to be able to help you find the right loan package with the desired down and the best interest rates, so that when the right property does come, they're going to be able to get you a pre-approval letter quickly so that you can get it in, and they're going to be able to help you close quickly within 30 days or less. You also need to do your research and find a good title company. And the reason I suggest this is I can't tell you how many times a for sale by owner has come across my table where I've needed to be able to close and go to someone who can help me through that process when I don't have a realtor or a wholesaler involved. After that, it's extremely important to gain a relationship with an insurance guy. And not just any insurance guy, but someone who has investment properties. This is really important with insurance because you don't want to be overcovered for your property, because that's just money out of your pocket. With that being said, you do want to be covered properly so that if anything does happen with your properties, you've got it taken care of. You also need to find a good inspector. Now, the reason I suggest this is you can go and learn how to look over your property and make sure the numbers work and make sure that it's a clean unit. But at the end of the day, before you want to close on that property, you need to have someone who's looked at thousands of properties come and inspect yours to make sure there's nothing serious that's going to cost you a lot of money down the road. Now, the next important member of your team needs to be a good management company. And for me, I didn't start with a management company. I did it on my own, and it was a great learning experience. So if you want to try that, I suggest it. However, you need to have all of the other members of your team if you're going to take that route. That means you've got to have an electrician, you've got to have a plumber, you've got to have a handyman, so that the things you don't know how to do, you have someone there that can do it for you. And eventually you're going to want to move over to a management company. And I'll do a video later that talks about that. Now, we've listed the crucial members of your team, but you might also want to get a good lawyer and a good accountant to help you figure out your leases, make sure that you're protected, and do whatever you need to make sure you maximize on your tax deferment or savings. Now, the next tip is understanding leverage. And I feel like so many people don't understand it, and so they don't take advantage of it. Where even though you might not have a ton of money, leverage used properly could get you into a great investment now. And not only a great investment, but I suggest using leverage, because leverage in comparison to purchasing a property outright is going to give you a higher percentage of return. It's going to give you a principal pay down that's like throwing money into a savings account. It's also going to help you get more appreciation on your properties because you're going to be able to purchase more properties, and it offers a ton of huge tax savings. And so if you want to learn more about that, I'm sure I'll do a video later, but I already have a great article on my website at chandlerdavidsmith.com that'll explain the advantages of leverage. The next tip that I have for you is understanding your market. And the easiest way to gain an understanding of your market is to get into it. Go call up a realtor and start walking through houses. Look at them from a renter's perspective and say, you know, what's drawing a renter here? Why would the rents here be higher than here? Start calling around on properties that are for rent. See what the going rents are, and then hop on www.rentometer.com. It's not perfect, but it's gonna give you an idea of where the average rents are. And the more time that you spend in the market, the more comfortable you're going to get with knowing where you can top out your rents so that you're gonna be able to run your numbers better. This leads in perfectly to the next tip, which is know your numbers. And the reason this is so crucial is it literally is what's going to decide what your end return is going to be. And what I mean by understanding your numbers is know your purchase price, your down, your interest rates, what that's going to do as far as where your rents come in, what your expenses are going to be with your taxes, your insurance, your management fees, your potential vacancy. You've got to know all of these numbers, and then you've got to know how they're going to turn out when it comes to what your cap rate and what your cash on cash return are going to be. Because as you understand all of the numbers, that's what's going to give you the confidence that, hey, this property is a great deal and it's going to give me my desired return. Now, I know some of you are saying, Chandler, this sounds overwhelming. Those are a lot of terms, that's a lot of different things. But what I would say to you is the extra couple hours for you to understand this is so important because it could change your life and create an incredible passive income for you. And if you subscribe to my channel, I'm going to be releasing a video that shows you exactly how I run my numbers. And I'm gonna be putting out my exact Excel spreadsheet on my website at chandlerdavidsmith.com. And so go check that out as well because it's not that complicated and I want to help you get there. All right, guys, we are to the final tip, and honestly, this is my favorite tip. It's also the tip that most new investors never learn about. And so they go through all of the first 4 and then they get stuck because they hop on the MLS and they're looking and looking and looking and they never find a property that matches their numbers. And so the next step is manipulating the numbers. Now, there are a couple different ways to manipulate the numbers. I'm sure I'll do a video down the road going more in depth. But the first one you've all heard of is making improvements or changes to the property. So you're adding a bedroom, you're fixing up the bathroom, you're redoing the front of the property. And this is awesome, but all too often I see people that will try and do this and they end up spending way more money than they plan on. And so at the end of the day, the numbers aren't that great for the returns they're wanting. And so be careful with that, but if you do it correctly, you can up the rents that way. The next one is spending a ton of time into finding someone who's desperate to sell. And this is a great way to find a deal where the numbers work awesome. It just means you're gonna have to put in a lot of time. And a lot of times just the realtor or wholesaler are gonna have a hard time finding these for you quickly. So be patient and wait for those. The last one is my favorite. And this is when you find someone that's selling a property at market value according to the rents, but their rents are way too low. So all other investors look and they see, holy cow, the rents are at this, they're selling it at this, the numbers don't work. But if you understand your market and you can go in and bump those rents 1 or 2 months later without putting any money into that property, that is a huge way to manipulate the numbers so that you can make them work. Now, finally, there's a hybrid of all of these where maybe you have a little bit of a fix up, you find a good deal through someone, and it's undervalued on your rents. Now, those are my absolute favorite deals because your returns can be astronomical. But find a way to manipulate the numbers. And once you understand your market, you're gonna be able to do that so that you can find a killer deal that nobody else is jumping on. All right, guys, you made it through the 5 tips. And because you made it, I have one last helpful hint for you. And that is start putting in offers today. Now, I know a lot of you are gonna say, hold up, Chandler, I'm not ready to put in an offer. There's no way I'm gonna do that. I understand your nervousness, but here's the deal. It's completely free. A realtor would love to do it for you. Second off, you could put in an offer for whatever you want. I mean, heck, if you want to put an offer for $50,000 below asking price because you know there's no way the numbers won't work at that price, put in an offer. You never know what's going to happen, and at least you learn how the process works. And finally, you can put your offer dependent on an inspection. You can put it dependent on financing. You can put it dependent on whatever you want, but at least you're putting in an offer and taking steps forward. And I think a lot of you will be surprised that once you make that first offer, you start to get a lot more comfortable, and pretty soon you've created an incredible passive income for yourselves. So put in an offer. Now guys, if you enjoyed the video, push the subscribe button, push the like button, and I look forward to putting a lot more videos out there for you because my goal is to help everyone that's willing to watch create an awesome passive income for themselves. And I look forward to seeing you in the next videos. Thanks, guys.